everyone, it's Danzie. Before we get started, again, I just want to let you guys know that while this particular review is a more positive one, there are still going to be critical points made. If this is something that you dislike, then no hard feelings at all, I totally understand, but fair warning that these reviews might not be for you, and I encourage you to go check out my other content instead. And with that out of the way, let's round out the first half of Season 6. So, I'm totally in the majority of liking this scene a lot, actually. It's so far pretty easily been the standout moment of the season. In fact, probably the last 2 seasons. The biggest thing I want to touch on here is how this scene showed a really positive example of something. When deaths fill an emotional function and aren't just slapped in for shock value, it has a much more lasting and powerful effect on your audience. Anybody can be shocking, but it takes talent to be engaging. David Benioff and Dan Weiss apparently consulted Martin directly before writing this scene, and while I'm certainly not saying that they don't deserve any credit for this, yeah, it really shows that they had help from him. At least some of Martin's blueprints were here for the lore layout, but you could also see his overarching narrative at work here too, because he's a firm believer that all deaths in a story need to have a purpose. I wish they would consult George R.R. Martin more, because, quite frankly, this was the first scene since, well, probably the Purple Wedding that I felt like I was truly watching an adaptation of A Song of Ice and Fire. I also wish that this had been given more time, because it felt like a lot of these big, important magical elements were rushed by us without the full weight of them being imparted. And the same kinda goes for Summer's death, too. Overall, great scenes though. This was really wonderful stuff. Yeah, I know, Arya makes the good list every time, and maybe this is just my Season 1 nostalgia, but I thought the play was kind of fun. I mean, it wasn't exactly a Monty Python sketch, but I'll take it. It's a nice break from the drama. Also, the choreography and especially the sound editing was really nice in the sparring scene. It really sold a lot of those hits to the face. I'm not sure how much longer these scenes are going to make the cut into the good list, though. While they are something I've consistently enjoyed a lot about the last 2 seasons, even I have to admit that they're starting to get repetitive. Hopefully it's going to come to a head soon, because I'd hate to see it become stale. Sansa this week was a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, I did really love Sansa giving Littlefinger a piece of her mind, and making a point about what a dickheel he's been to her. It was pretty satisfying, and I was honestly worried they were going to have her give him a second chance. So, this was a nice surprise. However, I have a problem with them trying to work this both ways. It doesn't make sense that Sansa would turn down his offer of the Vale army, but still trust his tip-off about Blackfish and Riverrun. She totally just cherry-picked one proposal from him, while being completely skeptical of another, with no evidence for her to support that he isn't just lying about both. I also really don't like where they're going with these hints of an upcoming internal struggle between Jon and Sansa for who has the better claim of the North. This feels like completely unneeded melodrama, not to mention unwarranted, because they know that 2 legitimate male Stark heirs are still alive. This is an argument over 3rd place no matter how you swing it. And I'm not even sure the writers entirely know how to justify this, because after Brienne brings up her lying to Jon, she just looks silently into the camera for a few seconds. I'm gonna level with you guys. With reportedly less than 20 episodes left in the series to wrap everything up, I'm having a really hard time caring about who this woman is or what she wants. I don't have any complaints about this scene, but I also can't go up to bat for why it or this original character needs to exist, especially while other better things are getting cut for time. To me, this whole thing reeks of just being a catalyst for more Tyrion FaceTime, but I can't really commit to that statement because we have no idea where this is going yet. So, while I don't have a good feeling about this particular plot thread paying off in a satisfying way, in the interest of being fair, I'm gonna need to wait this one out. Here's the thing. I was willing to let it slide that Theon somehow made it all the way back to Pike without incident. I was willing to let it slide that the reason for the Ironborn even having a Kingsmoot in this context is completely arbitrary. Hell, unlike a lot of book readers, I was even going to let it slide that they cut out an extremely core character to the storyline. But despite going into this open-minded and hyped, the resulting scene was, in my opinion, an absolute storytelling black hole. So plug your ears if you don't want to hear negativity, because I have some serious feelings to unleash here. First of all, where was the energy to this scene? Apparently only 50 Ironborn could be asked to show up to this, and it's like they only came to get the Kingsmoot continental breakfast because they all seemed bored out of their minds to even be there. Euron, despite his first scene this season being really cool and mysterious, walked into this episode as the most vanilla Euron Greyjoy imaginable. Come on guys, this is one of the most colorful characters in the books. Is this really the best you can do? But he really wasn't the only problem. Theon is suddenly getting along way too well after going through 2 years of torture. He's also way too cool with the fact that the last time he was home, his fellow Ironborn treated him like shit and then betrayed him at Winterfell. And Yara's motivations totally go back on what she implied about Reaving being ultimately fruitless 3 episodes ago, and somehow just knows that her father was murdered by Euron? How? Well, apparently it doesn't even matter, because Euron openly admits to one of the most taboo crimes in Westeros and instantly gets everyone on his side because he claims he's the only person in the world who can offer Daenerys the unthinkable resource that is boats. And how did he come back to life after drowning without the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation part of the ritual? If the Ironborn could just use magic to bring whoever they want back to life after drowning, then why is resurrection a big and unheard of deal in other parts of Westeros? I feel like I'm the one sitting on a salt throne right now. This whole thing made the Tower of Joy look like a masterpiece of adaptation. In the history of the entire show, this was easily one of the biggest missed opportunities for a truly epic scene. Overall, I would say that the positives outweighed the negatives this episode. The biggest disappointment, for me at least, was made up by a great finish that showed an effort to get this story back in touch with its roots again. I just wish that the quality of Bran's scenes this episode were more of a standard across the board, not a rare and wonderful exception. As far as a mid-season review goes, I think we can all safely say that this is turning out to be a better season than last year. However, so far I wouldn't put it ahead of the better pacing of Season 4 or the stronger writing of Seasons 1, 2, and 3. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about both this episode and the first half of Season 6 as a whole. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and hold the door on that subscribe button if you want to see more. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.